On this episode, I'm talking all about how to be a better problem solver. All right, so one of my favorite skills to teach clients in therapy is problem solving. And lots of people are like, I'm good at problem solving. And I'm like, actually, you're not, because if you were good at problem solving, you wouldn't have nearly as many problems as you do in your life. So I always teach my clients, especially my teens and my Gen Zs, how to problem solve the Dr. Dre way. All right, so this is what I do. I tell them, all right, think of a problem, whatever problem, and I want you to go along with it and do the steps with me. Unless you're driving a car, then don't do that. Do it later on. All right. So, and I want you to write it down. That's important. So writing down the steps as you're learning a skill is super important to being able to make this the skill second nature. So write this down. All right, so first step is identify the problem. This is the first step for all problem solving things. So you're like, you're not telling me anything new. I get it, just to hang with me for a little bit. All right, so step one, identify the problem. Write down, okay, so one of my clients was like, my brother is very, very annoying and I can't stand him. All right, perfect. That's the problem that you and I are to work through together. Step number two is that you are going to list out all of the possible solutions for solving that problem without judgment and evaluation. So I don't want you to think about, well, that's wouldn't work because of this, and this would be the best thing. I want you to just jot down every single possible solution that you can think of. And I want you to go outside of the box. I even want you to list the ones that you know are terrible ideas. I still want you to list those down, because the more that we can we can go outside of our comfort zone, that we can think outside the box, this is where the really creative and innovative solutions start to come out, and you start to be able to think in ways that you have never thought before. This is the step. If you can get really good at this step of coming up with creative solutions, it's going to turbocharge you in your life. Companies are going to want you because you're going to be a much better problem solver than anyone else, and you're going to have just a better life because you're a better problem solver. So in this case where, my teenage girl, she doesn't, her brother's annoying, and I'm like, okay, so your brother's annoying and he's like bouncing the basketball around the house. Okay, what are all the possible solutions? I can ask him to stop. I can go to mom. I can yell at him. I can leave the house. I can go out into practice basketball. I can, all of these things. And I was like, okay, are those all the solutions? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, could you punch him? And she looks at me, and her mom is sitting next to her, and she goes, no, I can't punch him. I'm like, hold on, hang with me for a second. I'm like, but could you punch him? And she was like, yeah. She's like, but I would get in trouble. I'm like, oh, hold up. We are not evaluating. We are not judging our solutions. We were just writing them out. And the mom was like, Andrea. And I was like, just hang with me. I was like, write it down. You could punch him. She's like, okay. I'm like, could you kick him? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, could you swear at him? Yes. And as she's doing this, she's starting to, instead of being frustrated, she's starting to laugh, and she's starting to think outside the box. And she's like, well, I could, go and take his toothbrush and wipe around the toilet and then put it back. Yeah, you absolutely could do that. You could totally go and do that. And the mom's like, Andrea, these are terrible ideas. I'm like, hang with me. Hold up. Let's go. Let's think of some more solutions. And so she's loving it. She's getting into problem solving. Perfect. All right. So same thing for you. I want you to think outside the box, even though the ideas that would be terrible. And given me and my history of treating antisocial and aggressive behavior, I usually go towards the more aggressive ones. Could you punch them? Could you kick them? Could you run them over? Could you wipe their toothbrush in the toilet bowl? Could you put Visine in their drink? All of the things. Yes, those are all things that you could do. No, I'm not advocating for any of these, but you're listing them out. All right, step number 3 is you're going to now go through and rate them, each of the solutions, on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is it's a terrible idea, or it's a terrible idea. It would cause more problems and it would not solve the problems. Whereas 10 is it's going to most likely solve the problems and it's not going to cause you more issues and more stress. So go through and you're to go one by one, and you're to say, okay, telling mom is an 8. Asking him to stop is a 7. Go ignoring him is a 7.5. Leaving the house is a 5. Punching him in the face is a 2. Even though I really like it, it's still a 2. I'd get in trouble by mom. And as you go through your list, then you start, this is where the evaluation starts to come in. This is where it's like, okay, we evaluative and we're making decisions and we're looking at the pros and the cons and we're teaching ourselves and our teens that our behaviors have consequences, because like we're having them think through and we're having them pause. And that is huge because so many teens are so reactive and they can do things that get them in trouble because they don't think through things. And the reason why I want them to write is because the skill becomes second nature, and then eventually they don't need to write it down. They can just do a mental and then it's done and they can problem solve and they can do it in real time. All right, now step number 4, we've only done 3 steps. Step number 4 is you're going to look at your list. You're going to look to see which are the highest rated solutions, and you're going to pick one to try out. You're going to try that one out and you're going to see if it works for you. If it doesn't solve the problem, well, then you're going to go to the next one and try that next one out, and you're going to keep going lower and lower until you find the solution that works. Now, if it solves the problem, woohoo! Yes, you are on your way to becoming a better problem solver. That's what we want. So it seems super simple, but really the thing that makes my problem solving technique and way of doing it better, I think, and more effective is really kind of putting out all the possible solutions and being creative, because that's going to be the thing that's going to make you think outside the box. And you're not just going to do, problem A has solution A. You're going to start to be, okay, this could do this and I could do this and I could do this. And oh, what if I did this here? And you're going to be able to be much more nuanced. And that's what we want out of our teens. This is one of the skills that lots of companies are going to be looking for, and being able to problem solve everyday solutions in a creative ways. And by doing this, we're going to be more, marketable in the workforce, and we're going to have less problems, or not less problems. That's probably not happening, but you're going to be able to solve your problems more effectively in your life, which then causes less stress and overwhelm. And by doing all of this, we're going to be throat punching the Gen Z mental health crisis. Let's go.